Merry Christmas. I'm speaking to you from the home that I keep here at Chagford. I've taken a moment to step away from my house guests to share with you my reflections upon another year. I was hoping to be joined by my very dear friend Margaret. However, Margaret started on the sherry at breakfast and now is not so much under the weather as under a footman. One had intended joining the hunt tomorrow. But rather than chasing the fox, I imagine we'll spend Boxing Day trying to revive Margaret's somewhat exhausted beaver. For some, like Margaret, 2017 has been an annus horribilis. But for others, like myself, I have been blessed with an anus miraculous.
This year began in spectacular fashion. Margaret and I were invited to a house party at Kensington Palace by our dear friend Canasta and Struther de la Poole. Canasta has a Grace and Favour apartment in the palace on account of something she promised to keep a secret. Anyway, long story short, on this particular evening, she'd prepared a light candlelit supper for several old friends, including His Royal Highness the Prince Michael of Kent, Darcy Bustle, and of course Sue Pollard. Now, Margaret will insist on showing off, and was in the kitchen demonstrating to His Royal Highness that she too could get her leg as high as Darcy Bustle. Sadly, while Margaret inherited her mother's wealth, she didn't inherit her coordination. Just as Canesta was bringing out her trio de foie gras, Margaret's grand betamons became a little too vigorous, and the entire tureen disappeared right up Canesta's kick pleat. So, take a sip of Veuve Clicquot, rest your feet on a pouf, and join me for a magical journey through Tiffany's Country Christmas.
The Duchess campaigns tirelessly for her charitable causes. Her work as a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations has taken her as far afield as Plymouth and Torquay. Whether canvassing for her local Conservative party or visiting the poor at Harvest Festival, Tiffany, Duchess of Monmouth's mind is always focused on giving back to the community, although all she's given back so far are tennis balls. During the 2017 general election, the Duchess knocked on over 17 village doors on behalf of her local Conservative MP, who has only recently been disgraced.
We're not in.
Not in.
Her strong and stable posture and aristocratic ankles make the Duchess a natural for the campaign trail and every election. The villagers brace themselves for the arrival of the Duchess's trademark headscarf, clipboard and distinctive knockers.
Good afternoon. I wonder if must be a Labour voter.
I expect, like me, you use your IT buildings for a variety of purposes. One of my favourite treats is involving the local children in the Chagford Nativity, which we hold here every year in my courtyard. I believe it vitally important to educate young people about Jesus. So every Christmas Eve we recreate the stable in which Mary and Joseph would have slept, surrounded by cows, sheep, and the poorly educated. Just as upon that first Christmas, we welcome royalty bearing gifts. I recall particularly fondly one of the princesses, Beatrice or Eugenia, I forget which, in 2012 bringing a gift from Fortnum's. Far more British, I think, than frankincense and myrrh. And in fact, it's become a tradition which we still observe today. This year it was gold, frankincense and marmalade.
The Duchess has yet to be blessed with children of her own. Instead, she takes a keen interest in animals and the outdoors, spending whatever time she can on her Chagford estate, raising pheasants, helping with the lambing, or vigorously enjoying one of her prize bulls.
Here we are among the fresh air and smell of manure. Like my cousin, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, I do love to take a hands-on approach with the farmhands, and I am often to be found taking a tramp in the woods.
The Duchess was recently diagnosed with a rare gastric condition. She is currently undergoing an experimental course of treatment involving regular injections of Dubonnet and gin. The condition is so rare that it has been named the Duchess of Monmouth syndrome. But through sheer British stiff upper lip, Her Grace remains determined to ride with her horse Crumpet as part of the British equestrian team at the Tokyo Olympics.
So there we are. Whether, like me, you're spending Christmas surrounded by wonderful friends and family, or perhaps you're a homeless type person off your tits on methylated spirits, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. May God bless you all. My bollocks are hanging out to the bottom of these tights.